Hi, I'm Gerard Paul, the pro-life guy. You know, the other day I'm in the supermarket, and I'm talking to this lady, and she tells me that week she was down at the local horse racing track, and that she was protesting against horse racing. I said, why? She said, because they're cruel to the animals. They don't feed them right. They're in pain. I says, I know what you mean. I says, isn't that something the way humans would treat animals? I says, just for money. I says, it's amazing. They do the same thing with babies. She says, what do you mean? I says, well, I'm pro-life. I says, and I'm against abortion. She said, you're against abortion? I said, that's right. I says, they're cruel to the babies. I said, they kill them. I says, they kill over 1 million a year. I says, almost 1.5 million sometimes. Just in this country alone, never mind around the world. She said, it's her right. She said it's a woman's right to have an abortion. I said, a woman's right to have an abortion? I says, you're over here protesting against the animals. She said the animals are alive. She said the baby's not alive. The baby's in the womb. Or in the stomach, she said. I says, yeah. I says, but that baby is a human in the womb. She said, no, it's not. I says, yes, it is. I says, you're listening to the big lie. She's listening to the big abortion industry lie that the baby is not a human in the womb. That baby is viable from the first day of conception. And you know why? Because it's an individual. It has its own individual DNA. You've heard this before if you've seen my videos. It's got eye color, hair color, facial features, IQ, and personality are all set from the first day of conception. The first day. That baby is an individual. You see, if you kill that individual will never ever have a chance to exist ever again. The big abortion industry lie. You got to understand, you know, when they were first trying to legalize abortion way back, and they did it with a stupid court case, all right? But that was something that was slipped under our noses. They wanted to do it long before Roe versus Wade. Did you know back in the 60s there were a few states that already had abortion? There was big outrage and protested against, protests against it. Just like this lady was protesting the horse racing. They had to do something to slip abortion under our noses. They had Roe versus Wade, the court case. Two hard-headed lawyers who made Jane Roe, she admits herself, that they coerced her into the case. She never even aborted her child. Imagine that, the one who was responsible, the name is attached to the case that started abortion, never even aborted her child. Today she's a Christian and she fights against abortion. Anyway, I don't want to digress here. The baby is a human in the womb, but the abortion industry will not tell you that. You got to understand, a lot of people are making money off of the abortion industry. It is now an industry. They have clinics. They have hospitals that are affiliated. Planned Parenthood has 850 affiliated clinics across the country. You're talking about for 50 states, 850 clinics. It's an industry. Doctors, nurses aides, janitors, accountants, secretaries, even lawyers, lobbyists that go to Washington and pass money around to keep abortion alive. You just think, people think it's just black and white. It's abortion or it's not. No, we have abortion, but there are restrictions. They lobby against these restrictions. They lobby against the restrictions in order to make abortion more legal than it is. You see, you can't get abortions in some cases. Or in some states they have this law or that law. They're trying to pull every single law against abortion. The industry. See, it's all about the money, my friends. When the end, just like the horse racing, In the end, in the industry, it's all about the money. That's what abortion is. That's what the abortion industry is. It's a retail industry for baby killing. They make money off of the baby. They make money off of selling the body parts as well. Abortion doctors making livings. Abortion doctors sending their own children to private schools, dressing in the best clothes, owning houses and cars that most of these people getting abortions will never own. They're taking your money. They're taking your flesh and blood. And they're making a good living off of it. It's a whole industry. It's $1 billion industry. See, most people are duped. They believe that lie that the baby is not a human. That woman I spoke to in the supermarket, I'm sure she has a good heart. She has a good heart for the animals, but the industry gave her an excuse not to believe that that baby is a human. So that makes it okay. I don't know what else to say about it. The baby in the womb is a human. It feels pain. When you kill it, it feels pain. You just don't get it. It's cruelty, just like to those animals. Okay, the animals, yeah, I understand. I don't like any animal cruelty. But shouldn't we be stopping the cruelty to the human race first? As always, I thank you for watching my video. And like I always say, life is a miracle. Save the babies.